It's the first time in a while that you have felt like going out, but during the middle of your walk, it starts to rain. You regret your decision and decide to go back home when suddenly you hear a cat at a distance. There are only a few people around on the street, primarily due to the various missing people's incidents and, of course, the weather. However, no one except you reacts to the call. You enter a dark alleyway and you find in a big cardboard box a cat. It looks very interesting with its pretty yellow glowing eyes and black fur. It puts its front paws up on the edge of the box and looks up at you. As it waits for you to make the next move, you get a choice. Well, I completely ignore the literal name of the game and decide to take the cat home. You live in a modest apartment. One bedroom, one bathroom, only you living alone in it. But now you are glad to have found a new companion. Leaving the cat to its own devices, you decide to go and cook up some dinner. You put some cat food on a saucer and call the cat over into the kitchen. It, however, completely ignores the plate of food. Not hungry, I guess. No worries. You leave the food there for the cat to eat whenever it wants, and then go on to make a sandwich for yourself. As you're cooking, you go on to slice a tomato and ow! You have accidentally cut your finger. You leave the knife on the cutting board and head to the bathroom for a bandage, when suddenly the cat hops onto the counter, sniffs at the knife, and meows almost pointedly at you. Heh, don't worry, I'm alright. It was just an. Huh? You watch as the cat starts to lick lightly but enthusiastically at the blood on the knife. You're so shocked that by the time you come to your senses, the knife has been completely licked clean. Then the cat sits back and stares at you. You feel a little uneasy. Cats are meat eating predators, but that was a little weird. You're not going to abandon the cat in need though, especially while it's still raining outside. You will take the cat to the shelter house tomorrow, anyways, so you don't mind one night of awkwardness. The rest of the evening, unfortunately, goes downhill from there. Even after covering up your fingers cut with a bandage, the cat keeps trying to lick the wound. You gently push it away every time, but you're starting to get worried at the strange behavior. What if it's got a taste for blood and thinks you're food now? You shove it a bit more forcefully this time, but instantly feel bad for doing it. The cat, however, meows sharply at you and dashes into the hall. Maybe a vet will have an idea on how to calm it down? As soon as you're about to call the vet, huh? The lights go out. You think that the rain might have knocked out the power. Even your cell phone is out of batteries. You grab a flashlight and turn it on. It's too quiet. Did the rain stop? Then why did the power go out? Outside, the sky is pitch black. What time is it? You turn to check the clock and you notice the cat on top staring at you. The clock shouldn't be working at all with the power outage, but the numbers are lit up and going completely haywire. The cat stares at you like a statue. It's not blinking, not even breathing. But you're afraid. You consider tossing the cat after all. But as soon as the thought enters your head, you feel a sharp urge to vomit. Huh, the flashlight flickers, and the cat is gone. Fear immediately grips your mind. How is the clock working with no power? You think of an answer as an attempt to make sense of whatever is going on, but no answer comes to mind. You back away from the clock and feel as if air itself has coiled tightly and abruptly in response, like a predator prepared to pounce, but waiting for your next move. But you're too afraid to move. Whatever's watching you grows impatient and whispers, "You have to run." With this thought, you run, But you're still weak from fear. So your legs tangle together and you fall to the ground. Ow! At first, you think you have broken your ankle, but something warm and wet trickles down the length of your foot, pooling underneath it. You hear the sound of metal scraping on tiles after skidding across the floor, as if it had been kicked. You look up in a daze and see the object in the light of your now open front door. It's your kitchen knife. But why is it still covered in blood? You barely have time to wonder how the kitchen knife ended on your living room floor to be stepped on when you see the cat emerges from the shadows into the light from your doorway. It pads lightly over to the knife as if skipping in delight and bends down to lap at the blood dripping from the blade. It once again licks the knife clean. Blood? The cat responds to your realization. You're hurt. You're bleeding. You're bleeding. As the cat is about to pounce at you, however, you run out of the open door. The sky is black and bleeding red, and there's a strange light that casts everything else in white. It hurts, but you keep running, even when the road ahead of you is darkened by a long shadow of something behind you. Even then, you don't stop running, because if that's the cat right there ahead of you, then what in the world is behind you? I choose to keep running.
Huh. Interesting. How very, very interesting.
Ending 0. It begins. The game restarts and you're walking again. The weather is absolutely perfect today, and you think of all things you're gonna do and all the people you're gonna meet. When suddenly, you follow the sound to a dark alleyway, only to find, in a big cardboard box, a cat. So, you look so familiar. Then again, it's just a standard black cat. Now the game opens up to a lot of choices. There are 40 different endings. Some of them are really cool, but all of them are horrifying. The true ending only unlocks after you have gotten all the other endings. So, let's go through each path. I don't want to deal with this cursed blood licking cat monster, so my first instinct was to not take the cat home. Your character says that he has bills to pay and can't afford a pet, so now you have other options to choose from.
You are not ready.
You are not ready to commit to a new pet. What if it gets attached and tracks you down to your home? You'd never get away from it then. As you're about to leave, the cat meows pitifully at you. You feel kinda bad, but you decide to ignore it. That's what's best for both of you. Let's now decide what you are gonna do for your day off. Let's watch a movie. You can go to the old theater where it would be much less crowded, or to the new cinema where they are showing a movie you want to watch. You don't know why, but you don't feel like being alone. So you join a long line, by the end of which you are so tired that you just pick a movie at random and go in. The theater is very crowded, and everyone is chattering amongst themselves. The lights go off, and the screen shows the face of a familiar black cat who meows. The sound is strange and not at all like any cat should sound. Suddenly, the audience starts to copy the cat on the screen. They also stare at you in disapproval when you do not join their synchronized chants. You too join in, and the collective gaze starts to ebb away. But then you realize You are stuck and you cannot seem to look away from the screen. You start to feel nice and peaceful here until you notice from the corner of your eye that the person next to you is sinking in their seat. They sink more and more, and then from their dead lump of flesh crawls out a tiny black kitten. The entire audience begins to deflate, and more kittens are born inside them until you are the only person left. You too start to lose your consciousness, and the last thing you sense is something small and alive shifting under your skin. Ending 18. Happy birthday. You try to leave the theater, and everyone in the crowd starts to look intensely at you. As you move out of the hall, you think you are safe, when suddenly you look up and your stomach sinks. Every person in the movie theater is looking at you. You run back home, noticing on the way that everyone is looking at you with disgust. You get into your bedroom and hide under the bed sheets while you ignore the ever increasing sounds of cats meowing outside your apartment. Ending 17. Black Sheep. You buy a ticket from the old man at the booth and enter a pretty empty theater. As the movie begins, however, the door opens behind you and someone enters the hall. The person chooses to sit right in front of you, blocking your view. You can move to another spot, but it doesn't matter. The person also shifts and sits back in front of you every time. You hate confrontation, but you paid to enjoy the movie. Angrily, you shout, "Hey!" But the silence that follows is deafening. The movie has paused, and the person's head begins to turn to face you directly. Through the mouth of the horrifying looking dude comes out the sound. You instantly run out of the hall and onto the main road. You see the new cinema across the street and run towards it to find safety within the crowd. When suddenly you have the urge to don't look behind you, don't look behind you, don't look behind you, don't. You look behind. In the middle of the street, you look back to catch a glimpse of a grotesque looking man cradling a familiar looking cat in his arms. Suddenly, a truck comes and hits you, killing you on the spot. Ending 16. Poor screening arrangements. By the way, choosing to go to the new theater just takes you back to the choices you made there. Fuck the movie theater. Let's go to the carnival instead. The ride, the games, the food are things that you have already enjoyed before. The only new thing that you find is a new attraction, the mirror maze. As soon as you enter, however, you notice that the exit has been replaced with mirrors. You also find a random flashlight on the ground when suddenly the lights go off. A mysterious voice welcomes you to the mirror maze and guides you on how to navigate through it. You will only see a flash of light in each room, and you have to choose the direction where you see a kind kitty. The challenge, however, is that some pathways would be blocked by mirrors while others would have, let's say, flesh eating monsters. So, you have to take your time and choose the correct path to your way out. You are also given 3 lives and 5 flashlight charges in case you want to see the paths again. Also, if you find all the pathways as bad choices, you can choose to wait for the paths to change. Let's begin. As a very cool gamer, I managed to clear the challenge easy peasy. When you finally reach the exit, the scenery shifts, transporting you to an endless white void filled with dozens of your copies, aimless, faceless, and empty. When you try to go back to where you came from, you find another mirror. Beyond this, you see a familiar looking cat. The exit slowly disappears and you remain trapped with only yourself as company. Ending 19. You beat the maze. Also, a casual flex, I completed the minigame in hard difficulty as well, and the game acknowledged my gaming skills for that. So, thank you very much. Oh, and also, this happens when you fail the minigame instead. The lights turn back on, and you're surrounded by grotesque reflections, all of which look very hungry. When you back up and bump into a mirror, a hand firmly grips your shoulder. On your other shoulder, you feel a bite, only to find a thing leaning out of the mirror with a large, gaping mouth. Your horrifying reflections look hungrier and hungrier. Ending 20. You failed the maze. Fuck the carnival as well. Let's play with some dogs. The park is filled with such cuties.
Whatever. Like you'd want anything to do with these mangy mutts.
A small, cute pup scampers up to you, blocking your path. And you get the most fucked up options ever. You can't go through with the other options because, obviously. So you decide to pick up the dog. Hold on. You stop yourself from throwing the dog as far as possible. You hastily move away but decide to stay at the park. You notice that the dogs kind of look wrong. Huh, you're probably hallucinating.
You should have stayed with me instead.
You suddenly wake up to a frisbee on your lap and an excited dog sprinting towards you. You quickly throw the frisbee and the dog catches it and brings it back to you. You decide to pet the
Really? Are you sure?
you decide to pet the dog. Suddenly, the sky darkens and the sun eclipses in the blink of an eye. You turn to notice that a weird layer of slime has developed on the dog and over your hand. As you stretch your hand, the dog begins to just melt until it becomes a pile of goo at your feet. All the other dogs and their owners meet the same fate, and this melted slime mixes together into a behemoth of a dog. You try to leave the park, but
No, you had your chance. Better start running.
ending 21. Dog person. You can also decide to leave the cat, but then turn back. The cat is hopeful to see you, but you decide to leave again, the problem being that you just can't trust this cat. Get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. You leave the alley, and now you have the entire day to yourself. You try to go to the old cinema, but you teleport back to the cat. Get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. You go to the dog park.
Dogs are disgusting. They should all just die.
You pick up a dog and teleport back to the cat. Get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. You decide to go to the new theater and back to the cat. Get away from it, get away. You go to the carnival and the mirror maze and back to the get away from it, get away. You try to go home inside your bedroom and back to the cat. The walls around you start to turn into flesh, and the ground now has a tongue under your feet. The alleyway slowly closes in like a mouth. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide. Ending 23. Feedback loop. What if you decide to leave the cat but then stay? Well, you go through a breakdown. realizing that there's no point in leaving as you are completely alone. As the self deprecating feelings creep in, the cat comforts you with its paws. You share with it how you pushed yourself to go out today, hoping to make a friend or something. You stay and just talk to the cat. It's been so long since someone just listened. As you talk, the walls of the alleyway become flesh like, and you decide that you don't want to go back home anymore. You are slowly eaten alive, but you feel pure contentment. Ending 22. Not alone. Okay, let's try feeding the cat instead. As you check your pockets, you find a small string and a bar of chocolate. It's not even expired, so you go on to offer it to the cat when suddenly you realize chocolate is toxic to cats. You feel really guilty and throw away the chocolate. You are a horrible person. You leave the alley and bring back a whole fish for the cat to ask for forgiveness. As the cat munches on the fish, you feel awful and decide to go back home. On your way, you notice more cats than usual, watching you from their hiding spots as if they knew what you needly done. As you're about to enter your apartment, you look behind to find dozens of cats standing there. A single, familiar looking cat comes forward with the chocolate bar in its mouth. All the cats look at you with judgment. You beg for forgiveness, but that's not enough. You feel something stir in your stomach and make its way up to your esophagus. You puke out a living fish, and more, and more, and more. You start to fade out, but you are happy that you have made up for your disgusting actions. Then the cat rewards you with the bar of chocolate, but you don't have the strength to eat your reward. Ending 24. Fishing for pardon. I'm sorry. You decide to go inside. You can't feed all these cats. You go to take a bath without dinner, a fitting punishment for you, and you wish you could do anything to make things right. When suddenly your legs start to feel itchy. You lift it and it's a fish tail, and your arm a fin. You slip into the bathtub and wake up to realize you're underwater and way too small. You soon find your answer. You have turned into a fish. And just then, the cat appears looming over your bathtub. This is the answer. This is how you're meant to atone. You allow the cat to toss you out, and then dozens of cats descend upon you and eat you alive. You still feel sad that you're not even big enough to feed all of them. Ending 25. Seafood Sacrifice. When you decide to start the game again, you suddenly start talking about someone for whom you couldn't become the person they deserve. But when you met it, it didn't want you, it needed you, and that felt nice. You look around the area and find a small mouse. This guy is kind of cute, so you decide to spare it. The cat is starving and looks angrily at you, but you still decide to spare the mouse.
You're mocking me, aren't you? Last chance. Hand over the prey now.
You still spare the mouse, but you know what's going to happen. The cat is hungry after all. Ending 26. A life spared. You decide to feed mouse to cat. The cat is very satisfied and goes to sleep after its meal. You, on the other hand, decide to go back home and straight to your bed, filled with guilt from having sacrificed the mouse. Late at night, you wake up to loud mouse squeaks. only to find hundreds of them surrounding you. You try to run, but the mice have already bitten your feet through your socks. You try to reach the doorknob, and they bite your hand off. Then, in the darkness, you find the mouse you had sacrificed, staring at you with eyes filled with hatred. It pulls out your heart and places it in front of you, only for all the mice to jump in and feast on it. The last thing you see before your vision fails you is the cat once again. Good kitty. Ending 27. Well fed. Now you have unlocked something new. You decide to feed the cat blood. You take a nearby shard and you feed the cat. You feel a strange kind of happiness from having provided sustenance to another hungry living being. As you become dizzy with blood loss, someone else finds you in the alleyway and asks if you're okay. Just then, the cat jumps forward and its face begins to split and open up, peeling back into writhing tendrils. The tendrils converge into one and shoot into the stranger's shoulder. You decide to let cat feed. The cat drains all the blood from the stranger and then comes back to you. You start to feel better, but something inside you feels broken too. You take the cat in your arms and then leave the alley for it to feast on the entire world. You just stand back and watch. Ending 29. All you can eat blood fay. What if you had stopped the cat instead? You crawl forward and grab the tendrils. The creature lets the stranger go, but it must feast on something. You feel a needle pierce through you and then blood slowly leaving your body. You don't know if you made the right choice, but at least this time you are able to save someone. Ending 28. Personal care package. You decide to play with the cat, but how? You check pockets, only to find a small string and a chalk. I'm sorry. The only other option you got is your phone, with which you take a photo montage. As you decide to leave, however, you check the message and what?
Aren't I cute?
Huh? You did not take this picture. So you look back and the cat is just looking at you. You decide to get out of the alley and you are a good distance away when you check your message again and creeped out you decide to go home, but the messages just keep popping in on your way there. Finally, home and a bit shaken, you decide to go to the bathroom, fumbling to splash some water in your face to stop these hallucinations. Again, a new message. You decide to check phone.
Hi, friend.
Startled, you slip and smash your head on the bathroom mirror. Ending 30. Photo bomber. What if you decide to ignore phone instead? Messages keep pouring in and you are going crazy with the noise. But then the phone suddenly stops vibrating and you start to feel something behind you. You look at the mirror and around you, but there's nothing. But you are sure there's something behind you, waiting to be acknowledged. You close your eyes and accept it, and it severs your head from your neck. Ending 31. Headshot. You look around the area but find nothing interesting for the cat to play with. So instead, you decide to play a classic: red light, green light. 1, 2, 3, red light. The cat is just staring at you in confusion, but you decide to keep playing. 1, 2, 3, red light. This time, when you turn around, the cat is out of the box and frozen in its tracks. Now that the cat is getting a hang of this game, you count again. This time, it is peeking intensely from behind a dumpster. When you count the next time, though, you turn around to see the cat, who is not only closer but somehow bigger. You are scared. You try to run away, but it wants to keep playing. You count again, turning back only to find a huge monster hunched over you, waiting for your next turn. But you don't want to play anymore. You try to run, but it instantly tears you to shreds. Ending 32. Fear quitter. You try to back up.
No, that's cheating.
Running now would kill you. So you run restorebackup.exe. You type in backup and begin restoration. You step back, and as you take one more step out of the alley, you get out and go home. The world outside seems to be glitching out. Ending 33. Error found. What if you buy a toy for the cat to play with? You go to the nearby pet store and return. Ta-da! A small cat plushie as a friend for the cat, with a special button that even makes the toy. The cat isn't impressed, so you leave the toy next to the cat and turn to leave. As you're about to leave the alleyway, you hear the cat doll go. You turn back to find the plushie now on the ground. You decide to pick up plushie. While you're holding the toy and examining it, it suddenly looks at you and then its mouth opens up and it bites straight into your wrist. You try to make it stop, but it does not. With your last amount of strength, you open your eyes, only to see a kitten. It would have been cute if not for the blood on its face, though. Then, the familiar cat comes and takes the kitten away. Ending 34. Living doll. No, you decide to leave. As you are about to, though, you feel a sharp pain, only to find out that your arm just fell off. You look at your limb in horror, but you find no blood, just cotton instead. Slowly, all your limbs are torn apart one by one, and as you lay back, looking at the sky, the cat's face appears in your line of vision. Suddenly, it lunges at you and pulls out a small doll made of yourself. The cat now sleeps with its new prize, and you don't mind. You're just a doll after all. Ending 35. Cotton headed. Okay, nothing worked. So now it's time to take the cat home. At your apartment, you decide to do something with cat. Let's pet cat. Or it seems to really like it at first, but then kinda gets restless after a while. You decide to keep petting. The cat tries to move away, but you keep petting. The cat bites your finger and struggles in your hold, but you keep petting. It bites off your finger, but you just can't stop. You continue to pet it. When it's dark, you finally think that's enough. But as soon as you move your hand away, the cat attacks and slices off your hand. The cat looks up at you and you feel compelled to keep petting it. Not with the other hand though, but with the one that has been cut off. Ending 7. Personal boundaries. What if you feed cat instead? In your kitchen, you find three things: a can of tuna, some leftover meatloaf, and something in a Tupperware with a foul odor leaking out of it. The cat seems to be salivating over the mystery meat thing, but you are the caretaker, so you get to choose what it eats. What about tuna? Well, the cat eats it and then starts to create bubbles out of its hiccups. The entire room gets filled with bubbles. But here's the issue. Inside the bubble is a fish. As you go to touch it, however, the fish lashes at you and starts biting. The more you panic, the more bubbles you bump into, and the more fishes start to attack you. Ending 8. Fish out of water. Well, what about the meatloaf? After serving it to the cat, you go on to make a tuna sandwich for yourself, only to turn around to find the meatloaf and some blood. You follow the trail and the strange noises into the hall, where you find nothing. No. You look up only to find that the entire ceiling of the hallway is covered with a layer of pulsing meat. At its center is a glowing eyeball, frantically rolling around in every direction before looking straight at you. As you try to escape the thing, meaty tendrils shoot out and grab you, pulling you up and up into a pair of opening jaws. Ending 9. Leftovers. Okay, new memory time. You talk about your best friend who probably found a new friend or lover, and you left them to protect your fragile heart. But when it appeared, it promised a friend that will never leave you, but only if you never leave it. Fuck it. Very strange mystery meat time. As soon as you open up the lid, the stench overwhelms you. You don't even know what it is, but you give it to the cat anyways. When you're about to head to the bathroom to wash your hands, though, you see that your foot is bleeding. You take off the sock only to find that your middle toe is completely gone. You try to call the 911 for help when you lose your tongue as well. You slowly look at the cat still eating, completely unbothered by your suffering. And that's when you see it. The mystery food in the cat's jaws look like a tongue. Before you can do anything, however, the cat dives into the container again and eats your insides out, I guess. Oh, and also your eyes. Ending 10. You are what you eat. Alright, no food. Let's play with cat instead. How about some yarn? You find some in an old box in the hallway closet and cut from it a decent length of string to play with. You bring it to the cat who is resting on the floor, and then you dangle the yarn right in front of the cat. As the cat is filled with eagerness to lunge forward, you make the first move by moving the string. The cat jumps and misses it, and you continue to wiggle the yarn. The cat seems to be enjoying itself, but it seems to be getting more and more aggressive. Your wrist suddenly cramps, making you lose control of the yarn, and as soon as it brushes against your stomach, you feel a sharp pain across your torso, and as you look down in horror, you see thick ropes of your intestines all over the floor. As your vision goes blurry, you see the cat walking over and giddily rolling in the mass. Ending 11. At the end of your rope. Okay, what about a laser pointer? You move the laser around and the cat follows, pouncing energetically when you shift the red dot. As you're laughing and enjoying yourself, you accidentally shift the red dot onto a lamp, and then the cat leaps and crashes into it. You turn off your laser pointer to check if it's okay or not, when suddenly it attacks you. The cat starts to get more and more annoyed and starts to rip everything to shreds in a rampage. You realize that it is looking for the red dot, so you grab the laser again and point to the floor. The cat suddenly leaps into the air and changes into a monster, crashing onto the site where you have pointed the laser. The cat has definitely grown in size and is now frothing from its mouth. In fear, you run towards the door, but what you don't realize is that the laser pointer is still on, and a mirror hanging on the wall near the hallway reflects the red dot directly on the back of your head. The monster instantly lunges at you, shredding you to pieces. Ending 12. Targeted. Alright, how about we play some hide and seek? You decide to first teach the cat the concept of hide and seek. You place it on the floor and hide behind the couch, and the cat finds you. Now you tell the cat to hide and you close your eyes to count. When you open your eyes, you find it nowhere in your sight. You look for it everywhere, but you cannot find it. Then you hear sounds coming from your bedroom, and you find it there. But how did it enter? The bedroom door was locked. The cat goes back into the middle of the hall and turns around. It's turn to seek now, when suddenly the lights go out. You find the cat still waiting in the middle of the hall, and you realize that you need to hide. Even though you are given so many options, you can only hide in one place, your bedroom closet. But it never really mattered where you chose to hide, did it? You don't want to look, but it waits for you to open your eyes. So you do. And then you see it. Disappointed. Ending 13. Disappointing prey. Alright, time to clean cat then. When you take it to the bathroom, you decide to give it a bath quickly. You call the cat and go on to slowly lower it into the water when it suddenly scratches your arm, making you drop it into the tub. The cat is not making any noise, so you dunk your hands in, but you don't find the cat. Instead, you see the water darken further and further before it starts to tug you into the bathtub. You are dragged into the dark depths, and as you draw your final breath, you see what was pulling you down. Ending 14. Bath Hater. Okay, you decide to give the cat a bath carefully instead. The cat doesn't run away, so you give it a good scrub with soap, rinse it, and dry its fur. As you brush through the cat's fur, however, you notice some hair sticking onto your hand. In fact, it's not sticking out, but instead growing from your hand. Slowly, fur starts growing on your back, your neck, your face, your eyes, your tongue, and even inside your throat. You choke on the hair and die, of course. But before that, you feel the cat grooming your fur just like you did for it before. It feels nice to be looked after, even if it's for only a little longer. Ending 15. Self care buddies. Alright, let's not do something with the cat. Let's do something alone. You can clean apartment, but that doesn't go well. The more you clean, the messier the place seems to get. You suspect that the cat is the culprit, but it seems to be taking a nap. You can keep cleaning, but it keeps getting dirtier and dirtier till there's piles of junk everywhere. You hear something break behind you, only to catch the culprit right in its act. You pick the largest piece of ceramic from the broken teacups and throw it at the cat. The pile of junk sways and falls on you, instantly crushing you. Ending 1. A not so clean getaway. Okay, let's catch the culprit right in its act. But the cat starts to move and bubble and bulge, and then another cat pops out of it. You see that the cloned cat is making another mess. But that means there are other clones? Suddenly, the two cats look at you in unison, and then you realize that they are not the only ones looking at you. You turn around only to find a living, breathing, writhing wall of cats. Looks kind of adorable though. The cats then all stampede on you and kill you. Ending 2. Double Trouble. Alright, what if you watch a movie instead? Well, as you head over to your armchair, you notice the cat already taking a nap on it. You decide to reclaim your throne. Not a good idea. As you watch a horror movie and heckle at the lack of subtlety in its string of pointless jump scares, you hear a loud crash in the bathroom. As you go in, you find everything in the medicine cabinet scattered all around. You put all the things right where they belong and close the cabinet. You open your eyes again, but there's nothing in the mirror. The options don't matter, you definitely saw something. You run out of the bathroom and enter the hall. Just then, the lights go away, and but then nothing happens. You don't feel very well and you need to sit down. But the cat is sitting at your armchair again. You have a heart attack. Ending 4. Real subtle. Okay, let's not take the armchair back, but instead sit on the floor. Well, that doesn't work in your favor either. As you sit down to watch one of your favorite horror movies, you feel something watching from behind. It's just the cat sitting in the armchair. You go on to rewind the part you missed, but just then the TV shuts off. When you turn the TV back on, the movie isn't playing on screen, but instead it shows you footage of yourself in real time. Suddenly, your mirrored self smiles and waves at you, all on its own. Then you see it. In the TV, on the chair, is a large swollen mass of black fur with a huge mouth. The on screen you pets whatever that creature is and touches one of its fangs. Ow! You feel the pain yourself, and then you realize it's not just the mutated cat in the TV that's watching you. Don't look behind you, don't look behind you, don't look behind you. And then your on screen version jumps into the cat's mouth. You feel nothing. Ending 3. Silent film. Fine, fine. Let's just take a nap. But that will kill you too, won't it? When you go to the bedroom, you find the cat resting on your bed. You decide to sleep next to it. When you wake up after a long time, you realize that the cat is sleeping on your back. You feel comfortable, and you feel like waking up would be met with disapproval. So you go back to sleep. It's the next day, but the cat still doesn't budge. It's been several days since you last got up, but you just keep going to sleep. Finally, the cat moves off you, and you try to get up. But your arm, now thinner than ever, snaps under your weight and crumbles to dust. You feel like you have become a ceramic doll as your body shatters completely on impact. As you watch the rest of your body crumble, the cat jumps up and pokes at your remains. It curls around your head and you go back to sleep. Ending 6. Just a cat nap. Okay, what if you try to move it away though? Well, it clearly doesn't like it and it wants you. But when you don't listen, you are knocked away by some invisible force as strong as the wind. As you look up, you find that a hurricane has taken shape in your bedroom, and in its center, hovering, is the cat. A vortex of swirling wind opens up and drags you in like a vacuum. Your body slowly disintegrates, while the cat goes back to sleep. Ending 5. Do not disturb. We finally have unlocked all the paths, and now we are ready to. What should you do with a cat that has been very, very naughty? You decide to kill the cat. This is the point of no return, but you decide to go through with it. You kill the cat. Its corpse lays limp in the cardboard box. You can check your pockets. String, useless. Chocolate, you eat the chocolate. You can look around you. Don't worry, Nobody saw. And now it's time for you to leave the alley. But beyond it is an endless void. Meanwhile, the alleyway is now filled with darkness. You cannot leave the alley. So you decide to approach the darkness. You had forgotten one thing though. You are bleeding badly.
Don't you know that cats have 9 lives?
Ending 36. 8 more left. Another story time. You were told by your parents to get out. But that was also the day it found you. It offered you unfathomable amounts of love, but it was also never unconditional.
You wake up and find yourself here yet again.
Here,
Why, here is here, silly.
you finally piece everything together. You remember your first encounter. That was real. You were at the brink of death, but in fear of your life, you got stuck in a loop, reliving the moment you met the cat over and over again in an attempt to subconsciously find ways to survive. But the cat messed with your imagination, causing you to die over and over again. And in the end, it even made you kill it. Currently, you are inside your head, and this thing is talking to you, answering all your questions. But you're a cat. How are you doing this?
What makes you so sure I am a cat? My appearance? I doubt I resemble any cat you have ever seen before. But I didn't say I wasn't a cat, did I? I could be a demon, or a god, or an alien from another galaxy. Or I really could just be a cat. Do you have some kind of proof that cats don't possess powers like mine? I doubt it.
But why call out to me of all people? There was absolutely no reason. It just called out to satiate its hunger, and you were the first person to respond.
Were you hoping for some special reason?
But in doing so, it found you to be fun to toy around with. So now it offers you one last chance.
Another choice.
You're back at the present. The cat wants you for the fear, the desperation. It craves those delectable emotions, but it gives you the choice to choose your fate. You should join the cat first, as it doesn't end the game but unlocks another ending. You take the cat in your arms and start to become sleepy.
With this, you will soon become a part of me.
Ending 37. Forever. Now go back and make the other choice. Embrace your fate. You turn around to find a shadowless entity towering over you. You step forward into the monstrous miasma and offer yourself to it. Inside, you realize that you are not alone. You hear someone calling out to you. These are the previous victims of the creature, now turned into this shapeless, bodiless mass. They have been here for too long, and so they have become one with it. But you still have your body left, and so escape is possible. If you can escape and unravel it, these lost souls too would be set free. So they tell you to persist, but you ignore their wishes. You know you cannot win against something like it. You accept your fate and choose to just perish.
And become one with me.
Ending? Perish the thought. But then you realize this is another daydream, another trick by it to make you surrender yourself. Listen, I'm nothing special. My life is admittedly pretty boring, but it is my life. And if this is my dream, then you're not calling the shots anymore. I'm done here. I'm going home.
You forget yourself, human.
Then the cat tells you how you are ungrateful, even though the cat let you live for so long instead of eating you. It also reminds you that it loved you and never left you, but you still reject it.
You made your choice, and you will accept the consequences of that choice.
Haven't you heard of changing your mind?
Such a thing doesn't erase your original decision. It has been permanently etched into reality. You gave yourself to me. You're already a part of me. This might be your pathetic little delusion, but don't forget I'm the one in control here, human.
The other victims show up to help. They run ndream.exe. Persist. I think it's about time I start making my own choices. Persist. You're back at the alley, and you're almost going to leave it when suddenly now begins a mini game where you basically go to the opposite direction of wherever the cat or its paws appear. The threads begin to unravel, the souls become free, and the cat becomes weaker. Your escape possible now. Thank you. You get your choice back to go home. The mini game begins again. The cat begs you to not leave it. It will die without you. It will die. But you push forward and you're back at the alleyway. And in the cardboard box, you find the real creature. Now just a blob without all the souls of its victims. Do not take this cat home. It begs you to not leave. It tells you that you took everything from it. Do not take this cat home. It tries to compliment you to make it yours and tells you it will give you everything you want. Do not take this cat home. It tries to confess its love? Whoa, but it's not enough. And also kind of creepy. It gets all teary and begs you to stay, else it'll die. Do not take this cat home. Now that I can believe. It fades away into nothing. Goodbye. You finally leave the alley. Ending 38. Do not take this cat home. You're back to your reality. You go to the old theater and enjoy a film. The rain stops and you're in such a good mood that you go to the new cinema not to watch another movie but to play around in the arcade. You go to the carnival and win a prize. The design is questionable, but you freaking love it. You also were inducted into a group while waiting in line at the Ferris wheel. You exchanged numbers with them as you parted ways. They might not call you, and you might not call them, but just having the option feels nice. Baby steps. You go to the dog park to recharge yourself from the interactions, and you take pictures of various cute doggos. It's been a while since the incident with it. You finally found relief. Relief that it was gone. Relief that you're free to live your life as you wish. Wherever those souls are, they're finally at peace. I'm fighting for my own peace too. Finally, you go home to your apartment. I'm home, baby. A little kitten flails as it awkwardly runs over and mews up to me. That poor thing was hurt and starving when I found it a few weeks ago. But it has now got its energy back. I smile helplessly at its cute face. Well, I guess there is one more living thing in my home. And, at least for now, I wouldn't have it any other way. Ending not available. Another day. Phew, that was a lot. Just the script for this video is like 8,000 words long. But it was really fun. The fragmented storytelling, the art style, and the sound design.
You thought you escaped, didn't you? No, you're my plaything. And you're gonna play with me forever. Oh, no, I'm not naked. My pants just match my fur. Shit.
What was that? Anyways, as I was saying, the fragmented storytelling, the art style, and the sound design work really well together to create this unnerving, disturbing, and brutal world which revolves around a cat and a person who is trying to find their place in the world. One small criticism that I have is that since the game has so many endings and most of them are just different ways of dying, it did kind of become a chore because the choices are not really choices but rather options that you have to click anyways in order to reach the true ending. But of course, that's the point of the game, and I love how all the endings are unique, with some really clever scenarios and cute names to match. Also, I'm definitely a bit more scared of cats now. Overall, I rate Do Not Take This Cat Home an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any other indie game you want me to try, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe too. Bye bye.